He's always good. They're good.
I'm good. Are you good?
Yeah. Whatever.
So, new dreadnought.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Kinda.
New guitar.
New guitar.
You've done it again.
Well, this one's I don't know what to call it. It's a guitar. I call it a guitar. The real challenge here is I grew up with all these records, these sounds, and they're familiar, they're approachable, but they're kind of part of like who we are. Mm-hmm. At least growing up here in the U.S., I mean, country music, bluegrass music, that's one of the sounds that sort of accompanies us, right? And so I'd listen to these things and listen to Doc Watson and the Louvin brothers, these guys, and go, wow, those are good stories, good songs. There's something really, in a way, almost sentimental about that. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to build a guitar that did that. But not many instruments actually make those sounds. You know, and a lot of times the sounds that we associate, it's not really a true representation of what that guitar was like in person. It's been filtered through microphones, through all kinds of different stuff. So you go, wow, it's like a real cleaned up, tidy, like on your best behavior version of that guitar. And so this guitar started life. It started as a fairly conventional dreadnought. Built two that were that way. There was first two guitars I built with a V-class internal architecture. And then I built this one because I wanted a shape that would do a little different thing. So it's kind of like a dreadnought, sort of. It's a little curvier. It's kind of like a little bit of a jumbo, a little bit of a dreadnought.
And it's a new sound for Taylor.
It is. It is a very new sound. I mean, we're known for building real vibrant, modern guitars. And I love that. It works really well for a lot of musicians, a lot of styles. A lot of great music's come out of that. And that's not the only great thing that exists. There's a lot of other sounds that some of them are familiar, some of them haven't even been made yet.
Yeah.
That would be good too.
So you know, what strikes me on this is the sound of it, the look of it, seems to harken back to a time, but it's not trying to copy. It's really inspired by not the guitars, but the sound that we remember from that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, even look-wise, this guitar looks like you would have just pulled it right out of the floor. I mean, we're here at Southern Ground Studios in Nashville.
Really
this is like kind of birthplace of so many of the songs that we love. But a great instrument, it's supposed to look the way it sounds and kind of sound the way it feels, so that the whole thing feels like a complete thought. Right? It's kind of like a great song. A great song feels like every instrument on it, every part, every little bit was all for one whole good thing. You know, you couldn't take any of those parts out and have them be good individually. They're just together. It's just like amazing. That's what a great instrument should be like. It should feel appealing. It should sound that same way.
Right. And you know, we were talking a little bit about the guitar in that, you know, there's people get so caught up in the specs of this and that or the other, and it's really the culmination. One of the things that you were sharing with me that I thought was pretty important that sometimes gets missed is how nuanced the bracing is with the new V-Class and adapting it to this guitar and across the tone woods and everything, that it all has to work. It's not one thing. It's kind of this culmination of parts. Yeah,
little changes will always matter. I mean, really everything matters. Some things matter a lot, some things matter a little. Some things like how much coffee you drank that morning, what pick you're holding, what strings you put on the guitar matter more than, you know, sometimes scale length or a wood choice even. You know, those little details can really be significant. But when in the context of the V-Class guitars, the design is so responsive that even little changes, little alterations to a part, you'll hear it, and you'll hear it in a dramatic way.
Yeah.
So even different woods, they were different before, but now they're even more different. They have more of their own unique characteristics, more of their own flavors. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It has its own character.
Yeah.
it's endued with it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they all can be versatile instruments. They can all make really good, useful musical sounds, but they are different personalities.
Right.
You know, they do different things.
And as versatile as this is, you know, you made reference to the Taylor sound as being very modern, and this being not that. And I know it can be difficult to describe, but as you were building this and you had this sound in your head, how would you describe that sound?
And using words to describe sounds that's hard for me. I don't think I do a very good job of it. If I drew a shape to describe each note on, say, like a grand auditorium V-class guitar, the notes are almost triangular. They're very articulate,
very pointed,
precise. Yeah. They're like carefully placed. If you strum a chord, you can hear each note individually. There's a lot of separation between them. It works really well for a lot of things.
Yeah.
If I drew a shape for the notes that come off this guitar, each note is almost like a bell curve. Like each note is wide, it's broad,
yeah,
and it has a lot of kind of like a long runway to it, if you know what I mean? Like the notes kind of blend together instead of separate.
You know, what struck me when I first saw the guitar was the note seemed wide and softened on the edges.
Yeah.
Which is almost what the guitar, particularly this Builder's class, or Builder's edition, looks like.
Yeah, exactly. You want the whole thing to feel comfortable as soon as you pick it up. You know, that's why this guitar has a different neck shape than what we've done in the past. It's designed to kind of mimic your natural hand position. Mm-hmm. So the profile of the neck on this end is a little different than on this end to mimic that. Well, we roll our hands over and kind of wrap our thumb a little more low on the fingerboard, right. And as our wrist position changes, we move our thumb a little different.
So it's following the natural ergonomics of our motion.
Yeah, so it ends up just being this real comfortable, approachable thing. We roll the edges of the fingerboard into the playing surface because it feels like you've been playing it for years and kind of knocked the sharp edges off.
Right.
Even the bridge design is a bit different. You know, it's a lot, it's kind of got an ease-off thing, the edge treatment on the body itself. Everything is designed to just feel at home.
And the silent satin finish, it kind of reminds me of some of the very old varnish finishes of some old instruments.
Yeah, in many ways it has a similar texture to it, but the intention was that, maybe it's too much information, but when I'm in a studio or playing live, I tend to sweat on guitars. I don't think I'm the only one, but maybe.
No, guilty. Yeah, absolutely.
But we squeak, mm-hmm. right? We make weird squeaks and sounds, and that can be a problem. And so this was designed to sound a little quieter, like when your clothing moves over it or your hands glide over it. It shouldn't make too much sound.
Right.
It shouldn't be too swishy. You know, it's a different kind of thing.
So this guitar is kind of a modern take on an old sound. But tell me why you wouldn't try to accomplish that by just maybe recreating an old guitar.
Well, those guitars do what they do, and they do it well. There's enough of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not interested in rebuilding what's been done. I mean, I like those guitars a lot, but I don't feel compelled to recreate what we've already done. This is, in some ways, like from the perch of a modern guitar maker, sort of looking out at a musical landscape ahead of us. Mm-hmm. That's like a big, wide open future, right? That's kind of what one of the modern GA guitars is like. You know, like one of the first V-class Builders Edition K14 is like so modern.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They're super fun to play, but it is a very modern, forward-looking guitar. This is a guitar that's more like looking at where we've been from the same perspective of a modern guitar maker. So it's the kind of the sentimental part of sounds that we know and are familiar with, but put into the context of a new modern guitar with the intonation and the balance.
Kind of the things we've learned along the way.
Yeah, the things that we love that I'm totally not willing to give up.
Yeah.
You know, an easy playing neck and a good fret job and really, really accurate notes. I'm not giving that up.
Yeah.
I'm spoiled with that. That's got to stay. So this is, in a way, it's a sound that we know and a sound that we're familiar with. It's a different sound for Taylor, but one that definitely comes with Taylor's consistency and accuracy in the way that it's built.
And there's something too about the intonation helps when it's recording, but something that you've done with the tone helps when you're recording the guitar as well.
Yeah, every one of these guitars has a voice, right? And I want it to play well with other instruments, because it's pretty rare for an instrument to be played alone as a solo piece. That's great. Sometimes we'll do it, and certainly do it while you're practicing. But in most musical contexts, you're playing with multiple guitars, a drummer, piano, mandolin maybe, bass, whatever it might be. So this instrument has to fit within the context of a group setting. So it needs to complement those instruments. It needs to kind of find its own space in there without having weird deficiencies or over exaggerations in different parts of its voice that you have to correct for.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You've made something. It is its own thing. It's its own new voice. That's, like I said, it's familiar, and kind of comfortable to listen to.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let's hear a little bit about
All right.
of what it can do. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thanks for building great guitars.
Yes, I'm happy
All
to.
guitar players.
I love it.
Everywhere, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to be with us.
Absolutely. Appreciate having you.